Waiting for that little red box. There it is. I see a little red box. Inside that red box is the word live. This is the part where I consult my host manual because I'm extraordinarily professional, and the manual says we are in fact live. Go figure. I'd like to thank everybody. Great things come to those who are patient and wait. And I can tell you that, you know what, this is definitely well worth the wait. We've been looking forward to having these two on for quite some time. So they do the honors. And Sally, since you were the early bird, I'm going to ask you if you would start with the introduction.
Well, my name is Sally, and I've been in the Mekons for 42 years. No, not that long. Nearly 40 years. Is that right? I don't know.
You don't. Once it's past 40, you don't have to remember. You get a free pass.
You sang on a Mekons record in 1982, so
yeah,
that's good enough for me.
Yeah, yeah, that's fact checking. You're good. And John, if you would do the honors.
Hello, I'm John Langford. I was 19 years old when I joined the Mekons in 1977 or 76. In a pub in Leeds, they said, "Do you want to be in a band where no one can play?" And it seemed like an easy option. So,
congratulations, man! And you know what? Ever since the pandemic, we get a leeway in terms of like anniversaries by a couple of years, right? Everybody gives a grace period. So, congratulations! Mind-boggling to think it's 50 years.
Yeah, I'm kind of dreading the 50 years of punk reminiscences. I'm refusing to talk about anything that hasn't happened in the last 15 minutes. So
that's good. I can help with that mission for sure. It's my job. And I'm going to read this because I thought it was great. I nicked it from the PR person who put this together for the Mekons, but I couldn't have constructed better. They're a legendary group. That part I totally subscribe with. Political DIY collective, often credited with inventing, I'm going to take a deep breath, an influential alt country genre with lyrics about British colonialism, imperialism, war, and other issues. I mean, fascinating history, great band. We are celebrating their dub reinterpretation of their acclaimed 2025 album Horror, created in collaboration by Pere Ubu's Tony Maimone. And I should say Maimone. Do I have that right?
Maimone.
Maimone. I'll get it right the second or third time for sure. So with that, everyone, buckle up. This is worth the wait. Let's kick this show off. Sam, if you would please roll the video.
Thank you, Steve. You made it very easy for me.
You know, I was already amped up having John and Sally here, just the anticipation. After that video, man, it took it up to 12. Why? Because it's one more than Nigel's 11. That's why. But Steve Harkins, and I'm your host for the Rock and Roll channel on TalkShopLive. And I'm absolutely thrilled to welcome, once again, the TalkShopLive Rock and Roll channel, John Langford and Sally Timms from the legendary Mekons. Thank you both for the trials and tribulations. Congratulations. You get some kind of a certificate for being here and going through the.
We deserve a trophy. Yes.
Yes, you do.
Downloading the apps. Yes. The last 15 minutes is not really what I want to remember because we're senile and technologically challenged, but
that's great because I qualify as well. So we'll collectively make a lot of sense together. I'm pretty sure. So, and where do we find you both this fine evening, Sally? We'll start with you.
I'm in Ukrainian Village in Chicago.
Oh, I love that. There was a great little bar that was on a street level, and it'll come to me in a minute, that unfortunately is no longer around, that celebrated a lot of great Chicago kind of power pop bands and punk bands. And Club Foot, that was the name of it.
Oh yeah,
I remember the Club Foot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
miss that place. And John,
Yeah.
where do we find you this evening?
I'm in Bridgeport on the south side of Chicago.
Oh, look at that. Is that
yeah.
because there's like some kind of a separation legal thing between the two of you where you have to
Sally and
deal?
I are not allowed to live in the same zip code.
Yeah.
There we go. Man, I wish I could be there with you. I would take you to all the fine establishments, where you can get great pizza and Italian beefs and everything that's great for the dietary plan that we should probably be on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty
absolutely.
good down here. It's pretty good down here. Chinatown is basically spilt into Bridgeport, so Bridgeport's a very different place than it was many years ago. So
That's
you
amazing.
can
Yeah,
eat real good here now. You can eat anything here.
love it. That's great news. It's been a while since I've been there, so I'm gonna have to get caught up. And I want to say, fans, if you want to ask John and Sally a question or you have a comment, all you have to do is just use the chat function, and we'll get to as many as possible. And to the both of you, I say this with all sincerity that I know that your careers are affiliated with entertainment, being entertainers, but in today's day and age, where it's somewhat contentious times, needless to say, I think what you do is extraordinarily important, and I would venture to say that you're the one common thread that brings us all together. It's music, and it doesn't matter what religious conviction or political affiliation. We set foot on stage or you unveil a great new recording, you bring people together. So thank you for what you do. It's really important work, especially now.
I agree with you. Music is a great unifier in a lot of ways. Depends on the type of music, of course, but I don't even get into arguing about that.
Well, we found recently we toured a real lot last year, and we found the best way to kind of deal with what's going on was not to sort of get up and rant endlessly on stage. The ranting's there in the lyrics of the songs and the way the songs sound, but just to make the night a kind of joyous kind of, I don't know, a respite, maybe like something where people could gather their thoughts and have a good time, and then wake up the next morning having not been thinking about all the terrible things that are going on for a minute. So
yeah, and hopefully whatever back injuries they suffered were just temporary. They'll get over it. It was worth it.
Well, they don't move as much as they used to, but then neither do we. So
Yeah, there we go, for sure. Congratulations on the extension. What I think is a really fascinating project emanating from last year's album, Horror. And I hope I don't trip on this, but it's Horrorble, and I love that title. And I was rehearsing it. I still don't know if I have it down, but I will have it down before the end of the evening. So if you both would tell us about the origin first of Horror, and also about this really, I mean, artistically, it's just a fascinating revisitation, entitled Horrible. And how did it come about?
well, it kind of came about simultaneously. The album was recorded in Valencia. We couldn't go. We were going to go to Valencia. Then in 2020, we ended up making an album remotely, which kind of used up quite a few of the songs and ideas we were going to use in Valencia. So then we went to Valencia in 2022, and there was a beautiful studio that our friends Janet Bean and Robert Lloyd had used, and it had a lot of space and a lot of really nice equipment, and it was quite reasonable. So we just went there and set up, the eight of us, in a big circle, and kind of made stuff up on the mostly, what you hear on the album is the songs being written. It's not, these aren't like the songs demos being polished into finished things. So there's a lot of avenues and a lot of layering that went on, which was stripped away for the first album to make the horror album. But when we presented the tapes the tapes, they're not tapes, the files to Tony Maimone.
Well, I miss tapes, by the way.
Because we were interested to see what he might be able to do with it, and we were trying to find the best way to proceed with it. In the end, we mixed Horror with Dave Trumfio in LA, and then Tony was working on different versions, and he hadn't been there when it was recorded. So what he came up with, I don't know. He took it down different kind of corridors and focused on different things, and he was given the instructions to make it sound quite extreme. So We had a few
gentlemen,
mixes and we loved them, and then we thought, well, why don't we just proceed with letting him do the whole thing as well?
yeah, I mean, comparing the two, when I listen to Horrorble, it to me, it's like an oral, walk through a museum of sorts or whatever. It's just just a fascinating experience. Where usually you get structured songs and and there's just this divergence of ideas, whether it's the vocal or it's the rhythm, and we'll drill it down track by track. But it's just a really unique experience, and I say that in a favorable way, and it's a great excuse for investing in a good pair of headphones, I think, as well.
Yeah, they're both the records as interesting sonically in very different ways.
Yeah.
But I had an album. I stole it out of the Virgin cupboard when we were signed to Virgin in 1979 by the
Yeah.
Mighty Diamonds. And it
Uh-huh.
was a double album, and it was one album was the regular album, and the other album was a dub version, and that's really common in reggae music to do
Yeah.
things like that. Singles always used to be if the B side was a version.
That's
So
right.
this, I don't know, it's been a kind of something we've talked about for a long time and never really got around to doing. But I like the fact that they're with the CD now that's come out of Horrorble, the other albums in there and they're packaged together, and it's like it kind of feels kind of complete to me.
Yeah, I gotta ask you too, how incredulous is it to think that when you first started out, the dominant form of consuming the music, for lack of a better term, was by owning the vinyl or hearing it on radio, or experiencing it, of course, live. And then for the better part of 20 some odd years, it was declared, extinct. It was dead to the world, vinyl. And for it to come back, there's nothing ecologically sound about it for the most part, right? It kind of checks all the boxes
It's
for.
kind of expensive. They reissue all
Yeah,
these
it
things,
is.
and I can't afford them, to be honest.
Yeah,
I
second
loved
mortgages of homes are definitely warranted. Yeah.
the thing
Yeah, but
about when punk started. The thing was, it was 7-inch singles, and I loved that.
yeah,
I like picture sleeve 7-inch singles of some band you didn't know who they were, and it was probably about £1 to get a
yeah.
record, and it was just really really exciting. And some of the bands were doing really amazing things with the covers and the artwork, which you just didn't really have before.
Yeah.
And
But
it was
yeah, I agree. But getting to your point also on the digital side versus analog, I guess, too, and the warmth that, at least for me, from the vinyl experience, I'm thankful. And what's even more amazing is they claim that 25% of all the vinyl that's purchased today are, basically teenagers and young adults, which was virtually the entire right universe of fans that were buying your music when you first started out. So in a sense, we kind of reclaimed them, or we kind of lost them to digital files and streaming. They're now owning bodies of work, whether or not they're listening to the entire body. I love the fact that there's that opportunity for them to listen from start to finish the work that you've put together.
Yeah,
it's
I think vinyl, I mean, it's something of a fetish item because, if you look at record sales, then even though vinyl is now, I think, like, is it aside from streaming, the predominant
It,
physical product? But,
it is. They
but
say maybe $1 billion in sales, which I
yeah,
still can't count that high, but
yeah,
seems
but
small relative to the streaming revenue. But
yeah, and it's so much smaller in the sense of how many people used to buy records when we were buying them. I'm sure you
yeah,
have a massive, very heavy collection of vinyl. Most of the men I know do, but
yeah,
it's kind of nice
yeah.
that it's become this fetish thing for kids too. And then obviously a lot of people need it to, if they want to mix in a traditional way. So vinyl never went away in some ways for that. But
yeah. Tell us, tell us about so a little bit more about Tony's involvement. The way you described it, John, also reminds me too, back in the day where, you used to have these 12-inch mixes where, turn the project over to some creative mixer or even DJ, and let them have their way with it, right? Where the artist really didn't have any say. It kind of feels like it's a little bit of a similar type of exercise.
A bit of a remix thing like that. It didn't really come about that way. It came about, like I said, simultaneously with trying to get the other record finished, and we had some issues trying to get it all done, just sort of organization, logistically wise. We met Tony from opening from Pere, but he was the Mekons bass player for a while.
Yeah,
and, he helped us out after A&M dumped us in the early '90s. We, as usual, the band kind of scattered, and we decided we were going to tour. And Tony came in and played bass on the tour, and it was great. And then we've just done loads of things with him ever since. He has a great studio in Williamsburg. He recorded the album Existentialism, which we recorded in front of a live audience, I think in 2015 or 2016 at Jalopy in Brooklyn. It was just kind of like, wow, let's give it to Tony and see what he comes up with.
Yeah.
He's an incredibly upbeat person. So he's just got this really positive attitude to nearly everything actually in life.
Right.
I remember when he was, I was there when he was on tour with us, and we were in some grotty club trying to load out, and he said, "It doesn't get much better than this." And I remember thinking, oh my, are you kidding?
He was
that's how he is.
He was in an Eagles sing-along night in a pub in Newport with me on a Sunday night, and there was a bunch of guys playing Eagles songs, and they were so drunk they couldn't play them. And he just looked at me. I'd never seen anything like that before.
Yeah.
I was horrified, and he just went, "It doesn't get any better than this, Johnny." I was going, "Oh, it does.
It does. Yeah.
It really does."
Mistaken, sir. Yes. Absolutely. What is that sensation like? You're mentioning you did a lot of touring last year off of Horror. What's that sensation like when the two of you set foot on stage? Well, first of all, if you can explain to people, those who aren't musicians, that don't have the good fortune of that unique, almost out of body experience of that energy, and when you're connecting with people, but also when you're scanning the audience. And we're not just talking about original Mekon fans here, but we're talking about generations of fans. That has to be indescribable.
Well, when the movie came out, Revenge of the Mekons, we were quite surprised that the average age went down a little bit. And we'd say, "Did your parents bring you?" And they would say, "No, we saw the movie and we were interested." So
I love that.
People, it's been, I don't know, it was kind of very daunting. I remember the first gig we did was in Sussex, and we hadn't played for 6 years as a band.
Yeah.
And it was almost too much. It was like completely overwhelming, and the audience
was stressful in that way.
Yeah, and the audience were very, very excited, and we hadn't really worked out what was going on. It was kind of a mad atmosphere. It was a very strange night, but then it sort of settled down.
Comes back. That's post-pandemic, because we had played for about 6 years with each other as a full band. So it was strange. And I mean, the thing is about playing, I suppose, it's a lot of things, because it can be really amazing, and it can also be very, very strange or sometimes unpleasant. It's like, it's a very odd thing to get up on a stage and entertain, because that is kind of what you're doing. You're bringing something to usually an extremely friendly audience, but things go awry, or sometimes you feel you've done a great show and people don't respond, or vice versa. You feel you did a terrible show and people just go, "That was the best thing I've ever seen you do." So it's just so subjective. And even within the band, people can feel differently about the way a show went. So it's a strange thing to do, to get up there, but it's easier than, say, being a comedian, or you're on your own then, and everyone's watching you to see if you're funny, and if you're not funny, then that's super personal. But if I sing terribly, I'm not going to take it too personally. It's just an off night.
But you never do, Sally.
I never do, because I'm
You're a very good singer.
Yes, you are.
But
you nail it every night, for the record. Yeah. Yeah, but that's a great analogy, though. I think as far as a comedian is probably the only other lonely scenario because it's one individual as opposed to a group.
Right.
We've always
So
had
you're
that. I love
you're
being on
channeling
stage with a
music,
bunch of
you know.
people. It's great, you know.
Yeah.
That's the joy
Yeah.
of it for me, is the making the record and then going off on tour.
Yeah.
You know, these are people we work with for a very long time, and sometimes it's the only time we really get to hang out.
That's right.
It's a gang, you know, for better or worse, you know, it's a gang, it's a family. And so
Sally, we was saying here that being in a band is like being married without the benefits. But anyway,
sometimes without the disadvantages.
Sometimes with the benefits.
Sometimes with the benefits. Yes, we weren't looking for TMZ moments, but it's your show, so feel free.
TMI.
Yeah, TMI. Exactly right. But it is like the most dysfunctional industry on the planet and the most challenging occupation. They often say you don't always choose it. Sometimes it chooses you. And there's no roadmap or no manual as to how you navigate through that, and because it's so personal, right? It's your outpouring of creativity, as you said, Sally, and it could be, there could be ups and there could be downs, and you scratch your head and say, I thought that was the best show we've done in years, and it didn't resonate for whatever reason.
And same with I mean, when you've been doing something this length of time, there are periods where we've made great records, and there are periods when the records to me, weren't as great, but it doesn't matter because the process is to continue and keep working through it. So that's kind of what we do as long-term musicians. If you just put your first record out and everyone loves it, and then you try and do your second and everyone hates it, then that can be a pretty distressing experience. And the other thing is, we don't do it for the money, obviously. So, the idea was, this is an art project for us, in a lot of ways, expressed through music. And so we don't, why would you not do that if people don't quite get it? By industry standards, I suppose we would be seen as somewhat successful just because we've kept going this long and we still put out records that generally people think are okay, and we play great live shows, but we are a sort of an anomaly at this point, and there are a few other bands like us, but a lot of people give up because it's incredibly hard.
Or sadly, they're not with us any longer.
That's the other thing. To be honest, it's a super unhealthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
And, you look at the Ramones, they all died. They toured and toured and toured. And you look at bands that just go out and tour nonstop and it's not comfortable. And, what job do you have where you turn up and they just say, here's the booze for the job you're going to do tonight. Feel free. So and there's the mythology of hard living musicians. So it's tough, but at the same time, we do it in such a way that it's not as tough because we only do it when it makes sense to us. And so there's no one telling us, you've got to put a record out now and you've got to go on tour for 6 months. That would be an act of madness and it wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
We've never actually, we were on major labels twice.
Right.
Those were kind of like, creatively, I think they were pretty interesting times, but morale-wise, they were kind of grim. And we realized that to put the music in a position where we were depending on it to make money was just probably with the band the size we had. It was just kind of ludicrous. It wasn't. It wasn't going to work that way. So no one's really ever relied. We've had the luxury of not relying on the music. People have done other things, and and
really
we've come together when it's convenient and when we felt like it.
That's an important point. Yeah, and I think with those major labels, probably those signings were that, we need an element of hipness. We got to be somewhat relevant, not just considered to be a commercial entity. Yet at the end of the day, it's still, it's still about, okay, we spend X amount of money, are you in the black or we're losing money. And they put that kind of unnecessary pressure, which, obviously impedes your creativity. Patty Shreve, is saying, "Bring Sally to the cruise." What on earth does that mean, John? Does that mean that you were on the cruise for the Mekons and Sally wasn't invited? What does that mean?
Sally has been on the cruise several times. And
okay,
it's the Outlaw Country Cruise. I assume that's what she means.
Yeah, I'm doing it with the Waco brothers and the Waco brothers. Sally has been before. She was invited.
Yeah, let the record show, Patty. Sally
I can't go anymore, whoever it was who asked, because cruises are like slow killing machines. I mean, how much food can you eat in one day? I rolled off that cruise, and so I still haven't lost the weight from 5 years ago, and I'm just not going again.
Yeah, not to mention what kind of magical, mystical virus or pandemic will break out. You know, it's kind of like not the exact opposite of winning the lottery. Yeah. Yeah. You lose on all fronts, right? And you can't get off.
Well, people love it, as you can see. They're going, you know, and it sells out every year. So, but we are doing our own cruise, Mekons on the Mekong, because we do, John's involved with Roots, Rails and Rambles, and they put together all these amazing trips where they used to put like an Art Deco railway cars on the back of Amtrak trains that did the really beautiful routes around the US. And Dave Alvin, right, John, and Jimmy Dale Gilmore, lots of people do that.
Tom Russell, Ramblin' Jack Elliott, John D. Graham, you know, loads of people.
Awesome.
It's a much more controlled environment without being at sea, and less people. And so I did one with John last year in France, and we suggested to Sarah, who organizes, so we've always thought Mekons on the Mekong would be a great idea, and she just immediately put it together. So we're going on our own cruise.
We just actually said it as a joke, to be quite honest, because we found out you could get a cruise ship to go up the Mekong River. And it was and within about half an hour it was booked, and then it was sold out. So now we're doing 2 cruises up the Mekong River.
Go figure. These things fall from the sky sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? We've done the black box clubs running around the country in a van. It's time to go up the Mekong River and find out, you know, to travel to the heart of darkness and find our destiny.
That's right. The gospel according to John Langford. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid for sure. Tonight we're celebrating the legendary Mekons and their forthcoming release, a dub interpretation of the critically acclaimed and fan acclaimed 2025 album Horror, aptly titled Horrorble, and it's being released on white vinyl with a digital download card, and that it contains the original Horror album, and there's also the 2 CD set that includes both albums. Each album features 12 tracks, and the album release is officially on Friday, June 5th. However, you fans on the Rock and Roll Channel and Talk Shop Live can purchase their copies right here and right now. And as the Mekons' way of thanking you fine fans, they have signed signed up to take on the horrible task of signing for you fine fans. That's right, but these autograph versions are extremely limited here on the Rock and Roll Channel. And to order your copies, hit the shop button and Talk Shop Live on socials like Facebook and Instagram. Comment shop will DM you a link. The rest is quick, easy, and pain-free, unlike the slight arthritic condition that John, Sally, and the band may have developed signing for you fine fans, but a small price to pay, to show how much they appreciate you. They're well on the way to recovery. I have it on good authority, but they are limited. And there's no greater way to show these amazing artists how much you appreciate them than by owning a body of their latest musical work, which is, in this case, Horrorble, along with Horror. So with that, let's hear, if both you are willing, John and Sally, let's share some of the music. That speaks volumes, I think. I'm going to take that as a yes.
So, sorry. I thought you were going to go for it. I thought we were going to hear some music. I
was like, good God, they're on the cruise already. They left. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. This is.
Don't worry, you wanted us to play something. And
no. This is on me. This is the beauty of being live. It's completely unrehearsed without a net. And from the new album Horrorble, it's on me. Here's Before the Ice Age. Sam, if you would please roll the digital.
I hear a creaking sound. I made the mistake of waking and instantly alert, listening, pull on my ermine-collared dressing gown. It's like someone walking around when I know I'm all alone. All the lies I've been told come back to taunt. Shapeless ghosts coil, writhe and creep, frozen with a fear that will never learn to speak. And sweat turns to ice on my face, and I age 1,000 years. Sweat turns to ice on my face, and I age 1,000 years. I'm falling through the cracks in the floor as it's slime or blood that oozes from my skin, trapped and suffocated by my sins and infections, slow motion catastrophe, melting, worms crawl out of my eyes, my surplus value storeroom, Victorian vampire, sucking out my cold, cold heart. My walls of self are crashing quietly in the transistor dark, slimy fingers on the glass touch screen.
So, Sally and John, this is the part where you're going to learn that the fans get very irate, which is with me, which is why I don't give up my home address, because I cut off a great track, and I don't think they wish harm on me.
I think we'd heard enough.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
It
please.
only gets more depressing after that.
You know,
we haven't even got to the policeman's truncheon, etc., etc. So
there we go.
It's for the best.
Okay, we saved lives, is what you're saying. So,
I haven't actually listened to that for a while. That was quite. I found it quite chilling.
It's, to me, it's fascinating. I mean, it's a cool ambient instrumentation, and the vocal is somewhat narrative, and
disturbing. Sally Timms at her most disturbing.
We love Sally at her most disturbing, man. I signed up for that.
That's unusual. You don't know what you're letting yourself in for. But that, that song was, that's a song that actually had, in a way, been written. Dave brought it, and it was very much like, he's in a band called the Pulsars as well. That was a band he was in years ago. And this song sounded very much like a Pulsars song, and so that was one of the tracks that we actually finished in Chicago. And I said to him, I have to pull this apart, and we have to have different lyrics, otherwise it's not a Mekon song. And so Tom wrote those lyrics and sent them to me, and I hadn't even really seen them, and I think that was the second take, and it was really like one of those things where it's better being new, because the later takes I did got evened out, and it's such a conversational thing that the oddball points at which I place the vocals works. So it's like that's something weird about the Mekons, that often I mean not just me, but a lot of the time the vocal that is on the record is the first or second take from the first time I've ever sung it. Because
we're often writing the lyrics and writing the song while we're mixing the album. So
it's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. So I guess it's, you're capturing the emotion and the vibe and the repetition. You kind of lose that edge.
Yeah, and which is pretty universal, actually. I think a lot of singers will say that, and maybe it works the same way. Sometimes you might be playing something and you do this oddball thing like a guitar or whatever, and it's, as Lou said, the anomalies are the interesting things. And so if you're lucky, you find an anomaly that works. Otherwise it's just a bomb note, but sometimes it's not.
We don't like to prepare too much when we're not together, because in the past, there's been times when we've demoed songs.
Yeah.
And we've kind of liked the process of demoing them. And then you have to send them to someone to listen to them. Then you go into another studio. All you seem to do is smooth them out, or your performance of them is it's more of a, the first Mekons album is interesting because we went to the Manor, signed to Virgin Records, go to Richard Branson's Country Manor to record an album.
Yeah.
And there was the demos we did in a little 8-track in Leeds, where the guy who ran the studio, Mick of Rick Rack, said, "I would rather hear my grandmother fart in the bath than record the Mekons."
Oh, look at that! A big
And
fan, was he?
He got someone else in. He got someone else in to do it, and we found a cassette of it not that long ago, and it just sounds great. And there's some Peel sessions as well that just they got more life to them than when you go to a big studio and you've played the songs for 2 years. There's no edge. There's no edge to it.
It makes perfect sense. It really does. Or even worse yet, the case where you've captured on the demo and they're asking you to recreate the demo.
That happens all the time.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of times we just don't demo anymore. That's the demo. You're listening to the demo on the record, basically.
It's really, really good approach for sure. Works well for you and others.
Sometimes it doesn't, though. I would say a lot of the songs evolved past that point, but after a lot of playing. So, going on the road, some songs are, we'll listen to them, we'll go, wow, they're so much faster or different pace to the original record. So it really depends.
Makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But if there was an exact science to this thing, somebody would have written the singular book. We'd all subscribe to it, and music would be boring, right? So, at the end of the day,
you could get AI to write a Mekons record right now.
Oh, please,
and I'm sure it would be brilliant.
Yeah, you know what? I jump out my window, except I'm on the ground floor, so all I'd have is shards of glass in my arms and legs, and I still have to live through that. So, no, thank you. But
that sounds like a good song, "Shards of Glass in My Hand." Yeah, that's just could have been part of that last one.
There we go. I'll pay good money to hear that track. I'm looking forward to it. Sad and Sad and Sad. Talk about a great title, man. It had a wonderful sing-along quality, I thought, with the fascinating instrumentation. And, and again, with some of these tracks, I mean, it kind of counters the melody, but at the same token, it works. And, with a lot of these lyrics too, I have to say, they read like great prose.
Thank you.
Yeah,
John can say something on Sad, Sad and Sad. Why don't you, John?
It's so sad.
He's too
I need to hear it.
Yeah. Well, here, let me cite the lyrics. And
there's a lot of good sort of tunes on this record, which I don't quite know where they all came from, but I really like the tune of this one.
It's magic, but the lyrics on this one, some that I, extrapolated was the sizzling coals I walk upon have much bigger feet to fry. I measure my age by everything that I've forgotten. An old steam kettle with a rusty bottom. A whisper comes from the living world. Not much, but it will do. Faint as a heartbeat, its message is curdled. There will be no knock or ring for you. Great lyric.
And there is a lack of tomorrows.
Yeah. Yeah. War Economy, another fascinating track. This one kind of worked me into a translate state. Again, I thought some really fascinating lyrics as well, and also found this one to be somewhat well timed in this day and age.
There's 3 songs on the record that came about like the night before we were going to the studio. We had a session where we sat up and we decided what we thought maybe the album should have. And that was it was about 4 a.m. in a friend's flat. We knocked out 3 songs, and we actually did record them on someone's phone. And
is that right?
Yeah, they're I don't know. I really like those 3 songs. It's Western Design, War Economy, and Private Defense Contractor. And Tom had said to me, I got a song called Drone Operator, was on the solo round. And Tom said, we should have one like that Drone Operator song of yours. I said, all right, and what would it be called? And he went, Private Defense Contractor. I said, okay, how does it go? He said, well, I don't know. That's just the title. So 4 in the morning, we wrote the song, but we wrote 3 in about an hour, and I really like those songs. They're really
sometimes some of the best magic occurs at 4 in the morning.
And War Economy is, the lyrics are very abstract, very kind of collagey, cut up, but and it does hark back to somebody said that it sounds a bit like the Gang of Four. It does sound like the Gang of Four.
Yeah, how does that feel? For sure.
So that's all right then. If we
Horses
can't rip them off, who can we rip off?
Look, I mean, that music is based on, kind of taking things and building on it, putting your stamp, right? I mean, there's no such thing as a completely original work anymore, but we're thankful for that, as long as you can build on it.
Yeah, I mean, these songs, I think, was each of those three songs I mentioned then are kind of harsh politically by our standards. We often veil a lot of that stuff. We used to say the personal is political, and Tom's new motto is that the political is political. And we decided, all right, maybe we're not writing, solidarity anthems or pointing the finger particularly, but we are describing some horrific stuff, and the album's called Horror, and that was why it's called Horror. So
makes sense. I mean, we have some issues these days for sure, and it's good. It's good at least to be able to help bring it to the forefront for us to at least give it some thought, and you're not ramming it down people's throats. As far as
I mean, I think it's a given. I think there's probably thousands and thousands of people who don't like their tax dollars being used to incinerate children. So
I would say you are correct, sir.
That's where we're going with sort of doing what little we can to express some kind of dissatisfaction with this.
It does matter, I believe. A Horse's Escaped, again, really atmospheric vocal and instrumentation. I love also the subtle musical parts, and again, great lyric. Were we ever happy or were we never happy? What lengths would you go to prove the omission to me? What form will it take? What size and what shape? Now the barn is on fire and a horse has escaped. Another great lyric.
Yeah, that was actually the motif, the piano motif was Susie's, and we built that one too, and that was another one. I didn't do the lyrics, I didn't write them, but no one had a tune, and so it was just a question of trying to find something that fit within that circular motif that she had.
Yeah. Well, Karen Palcho wanted to hear us talk about the songs from the album, so you got your wish, Karen, and thank you for being here. And Sonia McLean is referring to you as family and appreciative.
Hello, Karen. Hello, Sonia.
And then someone just now put Granby High School 1975, Paul Andrews, and that's where I went to school in Harrogate. So
is that right?
I don't know if Paul is someone who went to the same school as me, but that's quite an obscure reference to my old school.
Yeah. You don't imagine he's stalking you, do you, Sally?
It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
I've never had stalkers. I'm too frightening.
There we go. And Paul Andrews, right? I think it was Paul Andrews, right? I just called him
out.
It was
Paul Andrews. So
but I won't give out his social security number.
He also went to my school, but his name doesn't sound familiar to me. If I do know you, I apologize, but it's a very long time ago. It's 1975.
Some I think he might have just disguised the last name just for some security blanket or something.
I saw someone asking about the Mekons Festival. We are doing a thing up in Port Merion in October, but it's sold out. It's sold out very fast.
It's incredible, John.
Low capacity. It's a very small capacity event, so we apologize, but we do have a good. We have a gig at the garage in London on the 20
something. Yes, it's in
23rd of October, I believe. So that'll be everyone will be welcome.
There we go.
I don't know if you remember, did you ever see the show The Prisoner, Steve, that used to be on with the giant? Well, that's where we're doing the festival, in that Italianate village where it was all filmed.
That's
and
incredible.
They give us the run of the place. So I didn't realize that was really a cult show here, and so many friends of mine here suddenly went, what, where they filmed The Prisoner? And I mean, I barely watched it, but it seemed to be very popular with men in their 50s So it must have been on at a certain period of
Like
time.
I can vouch for that.
Like
yes.
vinyl.
No,
as well.
Americans. It must have been on at that time in the, you know. But,
So
tell me
what else is. Tell me what else my lifestyle is tied to. Sally, you're 2 for 2. So yeah. And I'm definitely obviously older than 50. So, you know, but, you know, I carry the 50
you like Wilco. You were born in Chicago and you're in your 50s. So, I mean, it's almost inevitable that men in their 50s love Wilco. That might be
what it is. Well, yeah, it is what I left.
But we're
I
playing
left before I
solid
got
sound.
that affliction, actually. I did leave. I felt it coming on. I said it was my time for me to go. With all due respect to Wilco.
Mini Mekons will be at Solid Sound at the end of June as well.
Yeah.
Nice. That's great to know.
And we are, and the Mekons are actually starting a tour of the US, Midwest and East Coast in 10 days. So we're desperately learning as many songs as we can.
We love that. And speaking of which, you know, I'd like to probably share another one, which, by the way, I think you touched on a moment ago, and that, of course, is from this new reinterpretation, Horrorble, from, of course, the great album Horror, and this is Private Defense Contractor. And Sam, if you would do the honors, please roll the digital.
Transformation stage. See all up a holy unit, human cage. Politics of death, bottom of between.
So the bud disappears when the blossom breaks through, and all that you knew takes the pain that you knew. Private defense contractor sitting in the sun, doesn't care, doesn't need to run. Really intriguing blend of rhythms and hypnotic vocal lines. It really struck me.
Yeah, and moments of poetry.
Yeah.
You know, so it fluctuates between straightforward.
I really like that version of it. That was one of the reasons. That's one of the earliest ones Tony did, and me and Tom were kind of like, we thought it was just very extreme, and I don't know, it's good. I like the way the vocal kind of sort of disappears into the effects. It's like,
yeah,
it's kind of over the top, and it's not the sort of thing you normally do with a record, and then it worked. It all glued together so nicely. It's great.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Tony Maimone.
Yes, yes, thank you very much, Tony. And
I was going to say sort of dissonant and nightmarish, which is the idea of the record anyway. So
yeah,
sonically it matches.
Yeah, I kind of refer to it as the soundtrack to, you know, me being a proud American these days. So, you know, it definitely fits the vibe. So I can relate to it.
Yeah.
Dystopian is a good word for sure. But I'll tell you, tonight we're celebrating the legendary Mekons. And again, their forthcoming release, this dub interpretation from the critically acclaimed 2025 album Horror, aptly entitled Horrorble, and it's being released on a beautiful white vinyl with a digital download card for the original Horror album. And there's also 2 CDs set with both albums. Features 12 tracks on each, and it's officially released Friday, June 5th. And again, is John and Sally's and the Mekons way of thanking you fine fans. They've signed a limited number of copies for you fine fans. So order them now, because you know how it goes when they're gone. That's it. I'm pretty sure after this, John and Sally will not be returning my phone call. So take advantage of this opportunity and hit the shop button on TalkShopLive on socials, Facebook and Instagram. Comment Shop will DM you a link. And the rest is quick and easy. And in all truthfulness, there's no greater way to show how much you appreciate the legendary Mekons than by owning a copy of their passion works, in this case, Horrorble and also Horror. Sanctuary, man, Elements of a Lullaby, I thought was pretty cool. Kind of an intriguing track. This one feels kind of timeless. And again, fascinating lyric. Jesus on a chain link fence hanging in the sun, rusty iron with cactus blooms in the wilderness. In the blood of Christ mountains, shoes for tiny feet. At the end of the road, we stumble on Sanctuary.
Or don't, unfortunately. But John can tell you about this one.
Actually fell asleep in a chapel in, I think it's called Chimayo. It's a sanctuary up in the hills near Taos. And I fell asleep and I woke up and I thought I wasn't in America. I woke up and I looked around and I thought, how did I get here? I'm in Europe. I'm in Spain. I'm somewhere not. It was a very strange experience. Just not, sometimes when you wait, you don't quite know where you are. But I really did not feel like I was in the United States. And it's a very otherworldly place. So that's
we'll get the benefit of it.
Some of those ideas came from there, and they got applied to other things and mangled up with other things. So
we get the great benefit of a wonderful song out of it. Sometimes I wish I could transport myself that way when I fall asleep, but no such.
The piano on that song is actually the piano from my house.
Is that right?
Yeah, and I recorded it on my phone just to remember the memory and the melody, and then they took it in the studio off my phone, just stuck a mic to my phone.
I love that.
And then looped it, and Dave kind of constructed it into the song, so.
Yeah, that's where technology
It's a very unusual sounding piano, and
yeah.
And that song features the singing talents of the devastating Susie Honeyman. And I think that is really the first time she's ever sung on a Mekons record. We had to force her to do it. And now she's singing live. And I don't know if you know Ann Powers from NPR, but she came to the show in Nashville. And she had written a review either of the show, I can't remember, I think it was of the show, and she said Susie had a devastating voice and she thought it was a revelation, and now Susie wants to sing all the songs, because in the past she would never sing, and now she's got all this newfound confidence and ambition in her singing abilities, which she will not be allowed to further. So
it's good to know. She's not quitting her day job either, is she?
Just watch your back. Watch your back, Sally. Watch your back.
I know. She's coming for me.
Yes, be afraid. Absolutely. And Surrender. Man, love the rhythmic elements of this one. Catchy chord progression. And the otherworldly, I think, seductive vocal, at least my take on it. And another great lyric.
That was actually written. I think that was an attempt to try and gather some material. And then I think I sent that lyric to Tom and he tweaked it a bit. Then he sang it sort of a cappella into his phone. And then we had to work out what it was.
That's great.
But we sort of stuck, it was so odd, we sort of said, let's just stick to it, because there's this bit where the last note just hangs on forever, and it's... And you're going, are they going to get to the next verse or not? All right. Hang on. No. Yes, here we go. Next verse. So,
we're going to use it. We'll use this
But
next
again,
track.
if there's something strange happens, we tend to cherish
Feed it.
and
Feed it.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And we're thankful for that for sure. We're going to play Mudcrawlers on the outro of the song. Features Benji from Skindred. Captivating combination, the kind of ska vibe going off the rails. This one kept my attention, and I noticed buried in there somewhere a little bit of an early, almost kind of like a Who guitar chord progression sprinkled in there, and there's a lot to take in. And this one captured my attention 100%.
You gonna play it?
You're the second person to reference the Who chord progression today, so that
is that right?
Yeah,
we are going to play it. Yes, we are. And in fact, Sam, if you would, please do the honors. And this is Mudcrawlers. Please roll the digital.
Down in the deepest river, no more will potatoes grow. Down with it, 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 down with it. This is the revenge journey. The Mudcrawler, the Mudcrawler, the Mudcrawler. Whoa, the Mudcrawler, the Mudcrawler. Thousands of millions of millions, quadrillions of trillions and billions of billions, collecting for them who are sucking the blood from a vampire. This is the revenge of the Mudcrawler. The Mudcrawler, the Mudcrawler, the Mudcrawler, the Mudcrawler, the Mudcrawler. Whoa, the Mudcrawler, the Mudcrawler, the Mudcrawler.
Fascinating track. Love that one. Yeah.
Benji Webbe is band Skindred were number one. I think last week they were number one in the British charts. Last year they were number one in the heavy metal charts, and this year their new album is actually number one in the the charts for everyone. So
amazing. That's amazing. How fortuitous.
Yeah. He's a Newport chap, a friend of mine of old, but his family are from West Indies, and he lives down by the docks. So that it seemed like I talked to him about that song, and he was interested in having a go at doing something different. And because it's the idea was to make a sort of dub album, it was nice to have somebody hosting over it, and it's very adaptable at that. So
pretty magical, I think. Yeah, that track. And again, it's refreshing too. It's not following a standard formula, and that's what I love about this record. And there's Fallen Leaves, quite the closing track, and again another great lyric: words cut from a puzzle filled with kryptonite, moved around and rearranged, dark in your heart at night. Seemed like that's the appropriate track to close this with.
Okay.
And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it, John.
Go for it.
Yeah, I was Eric had a sort of weird little tune and a lyric, and then me and Tom just took it away and said it's not horrible enough, so we had to make it horrible.
I love that.
I thought I actually misheard. I thought it said something else, but I thought it said like kryptonite.
Yeah.
Well, I miss that was a mishearing. But I said, "Oh no, keep the kryptonite line." And he was going, "It doesn't say kryptonite." But
is that right?
It should then.
Yeah. Well, again, I want to remind everybody we're celebrating this this reinterpretation, a dub interpretation of the critically acclaimed 2025 album Horror, aptly entitled Horrorble, and it's available on white vinyl with a digital download card for the the original version Horror, and there's a 2 CD set with both, and it's releasing officially Friday, June 5th, but you can purchase copies right here on TalkShop Live. And as a Mekons way of thanking you fans, they've graciously agreed to sign a limited number of copies of both the vinyl and the CD. When they're gone, they're gone. Just hit the shop button on TalkShop Live, and if you're watching this on Instagram or Facebook, click the link and we'll DM, or I should say, comment the word shop and we'll send you a link. Click that, and the rest is easy. And there's no greater way to show how much you appreciate the legendary Mekons for sure. So, John and Sally, you've already shared some of the things. Anything else you can share with us for the balance of 2026? It seems, hard to believe that we're talking about we're at almost at the end of the first half of the year already. But
I know
you've got a lot going on. Yeah,
time races at this point. I mean, we've just got to stay alive to do the things we were booked to do. If we keep finding more gigs, maybe we'll be okay. But we have to. We have to get.
There's no time to die. There's no time to die because we have gigs booked. So
we don't have time for such nonsense,
no,
right?
No. We've got to carry on.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not that the subject never comes up in an aging band, but
we've been very lucky. I've got to say, we've been very lucky, but we've lost quite a few people that are very close to us. Recently, and it kind of brings it home, and it also for me it makes me feel like, wow,
we're so thankful. We need
to keep this go. We need to keep going and keep doing this, all we can.
Yeah, so. Making things is, whatever form it takes. It's very human to want to make something. So, we are losing so much, in my opinion, with technology and just, I do it myself. Just time gets sucked into endless machines, and there's something very human about making things either with your hands or singing, the idea that you make a noise with your body, and we can do those things.
I just made a noise with my body.
Thanks for sharing, John. I was wondering where that came from. So now you just checked. I can check that off the list. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no one wants to buy that rubbish. Thank you.
Yes, but you're right. You're right, Sally. We have to hang on to that creative element, right? From the human.
Go down to your shed and whittle some wood or whatever. People
what we found is the touring is actually pretty boring. Sitting in the van all day.
No doubt.
So we started making our own T-shirts in the van.
Oh yeah,
and they have proved popular. So here I just advertising the luxury chicken.
Look at that! I love that.
That's a chicken smoking a cigarette, and we make T-shirts because they're special and unique, and they're called luxury chickens.
Luxury chickens. There's a reason why we've been able to keep going, and a lot of it is resourcefulness, because the reason we started doing luxury chickens last year is that Steve left the printed paid-for T-shirts on the Eurostar on the way to Holland.
We did get them back.
We did get them back, and I will, it happens, you're tired.
But by then, the horse had bolted, and we were busy drawing our own T-shirts.
We had nothing to sell, and the driver said, "Well, there's these really cheap stores where you can buy super cheap T-shirts." Keek, it was Keek, wasn't it, in Austria? And we would go and buy huge amounts of T-shirts, and then there's a store usually next to it that sells art supplies, and we just started making our own T-shirts. And people would be stopping in service stations, like spray painting, and then we'd be selling them for loads more money than we sold the printed T-shirts that were made by a company. And then they became a thing. And when we got over here, people were going, where can we get these T-shirts? So we made loads more. And then we had a T-shirt exhibition in LA.
Our merch guy, Mr. J, who's our driver, he said we have a problem. If the people line up, you got 10 T-shirts which you're selling for $40, and then people buy them in the first 5 minutes of the doors opening. He said, what you need to do is raise the prices or make more.
He's a smart man.
So we decided to make more.
I love that.
But Eric can only make them. It takes 8 hours for Eric to make a $40 T-shirt, which is below the minimum wage. So,
he was born in 1907, so he's working at those wages.
So it's kind of nostalgic in a way, but
it's like a workhouse, you know.
Yeah,
but that's what the band is like. It's just now everyone stopped thinking about music, and they would just, you know, there'd be like a little production line. I'm not an artist, so I would just do dotting, you know. So we all had a little job.
I loved it.
And, you know,
I can't wait to get back in the van and do it. I loved it.
I'll tell you what, that's on the top of my Christmas list. That's for sure. It just moved up. Yeah. Number one with the bullet.
Well, you have to get within the first 5 minutes. They're gone. You know, we can't make them fast enough.
Javier says, will there be some chickens available at the Hideout? There'll be T-shirts with chickens on. There will not be any actual chickens, but we will have
no live chickens, just on the shirts.
We will have luxury chickens though.
Yes, indeed. I love that. I've learned so much this evening. I feel so fortunate, and I was just expecting to talk about music, but I want to thank all the fans.
Our interests.
And I understand, rightfully so. But I'll tell you what, we're thankful that you're still delivering great music to all of us, and I want to thank all the fans for being here this evening. Also to Jonathan Clancy and also to Johnny Halliday, who we met at Fire Records.
Fire Records, yes.
Yeah, they made this happen. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been here.
Well, actually, it was James. I have to say, it was James from Fire Records' idea to call it Horrorble. We were having a conversation.
Brilliant.
About what we should have on the cover. And it was like, well, we should have another animal. And then somebody said Horrorble. And he said, that's it. You have a bull on the cover and it's called Horrorble. So
genius. Absolutely. Yeah.
So
I love that.
Credit where credit is due.
Yeah. Well, warranted for sure. Good call out. Also want to thank Lucia and Lauren also from Fire Records, and Josh Mills and Chris DeBono and everybody at Red Eye, the distribution company that distributes Fire Records, and our fulfillment partners, All Media Supply, that make sure that you get these Mekon albums directly to you. And to Brian, Sandy, Tina, Brad, Joe, Kathy, Jenny, Lavani, Marty, Kate, Brendan, and behind the scenes, as always, doing a great job, Sam, all from Talk Shop Live. But most importantly, to the Mekons for, again, continuing to provide their musical gifts to all of us. John and Sally, can't thank you enough for spending time. It was an honor and an absolute pleasure to spend this time with you, and thank you. I hope we get to do it again in the future.
Thank you very much for asking
Nice
us.
talking to you, Steve. It was great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And for that, everybody, I just want to remind you, pick up copies of this great new rendition, Horrorble. And again, it's on white vinyl with a download card of Horror, and then also 2 CDs set, autographed by John, Sally, and the Mekons. And while you're at it, pick up copies for your friends and family. It's a unique gift that will last a lifetime. Music and art is the gift that keeps on giving. And I have it on good authority. It will enhance everyone's quality of life. Thank you both again. Great to meet you. And with that, everyone, stay safe, enjoy life. So long, everybody.
At night, I hear a creaking sound. I made the mistake of waking and instantly alert, listening, pull on my ermine-collared dressing gown. It's like someone walking around when I know I'm all alone. All the lies I've been told come back to taunt. Shapeless ghosts coil, writhe and creep, frozen with a fear that will never learn to speak. And sweat turns to ice on my face, and I age 1,000 years. Sweat turns to ice on my face, and I age 1,000 years. I'm falling through the cracks in the floor as it's slime or blood that oozes from my skin, trapped and suffocated by my sins and infections, slow motion catastrophe, melting, worms crawl out of my eyes, my surplus value stolen, Victorian vampire, sucking out my cold, cold heart, my walls of self are crashing quietly in the transistor dark, slimy fingers on the glass touch screen.